So let's have a discussion this morning about the fact that Donald Trump was elected president with a large promise not to get involved with occupying other nations. And he condemned other administrations for starting wars to police other nations and getting entangled. But now he elevates the Monroe Doctrine. So let's discuss the Monroe Doctrine, which was an original principle announced by James Monroe in 1823 with a single purpose: stop European colonial expansion in the Americas and the American hemisphere. The promise was the U.S. would not interfere in Europe. The U.S. would not control Latin American nations. So it was a diplomatic warning, and it gave no presidential authority to act alone. It was anti-colonialism without empire. The shift began in the 1890s when the U.S. became a global superpower, and the doctrine began to change meaning due largely to Theodore Roosevelt, who created the Roosevelt Corollary that claims U.S. had the right to intervene, justified preventing European involvement. The doctrine flips from a shield to a lever, from restraint to intervention. This became anti-imperial language used to justify imperial action. The new 20th century doctrine repeatedly invoked to police other nations' debt, to pressure governments, to install friendly regimes, and Latin American perception was that it was prosecution and control. The reality, the doctrine outgrew its original constitutional limits, and our entry into militarized globalism was created. Now, Donald Trump publicly revives it and frames it as a U.S. sphere of influence. Justification of force and regime pressure, used without congressional war authorization, multilateral consent, clear unconstitutional grounding. Executive power replaces deliberation. Here's the disconnect. The 1823 limited power avoided entanglements. Now it normalizes intervention and rewrites history as fact. The takeaway, the Dulles brothers, Paul Wolfowitz, the military-industrial complex, and oil company executives and shareholders are going to be very happy. Here we go again. So the final line, the Monroe Doctrine was meant to prevent empires, not excuse them. Revive our republic.